Hi, it's Inspector Mark. I'm in the attic of a fairly newly built. The house was finished in July of 2011 and it's now January 2012. So the house has been sitting here empty for a while. And it's got I'm in the attic of the house, which is, as you can tell from my breath, cold. And there's been a lot of vapor leakage through the envelope of the house, and it's damaged the insulation marginally wherever these vapor leaks have occurred. I'm just going to show a few of these leaks and you can see what's happened to the insulation. One of them that's more obvious here at this end of the attic is at the pot lights. So you can see the wire that's coming out of the insulation here, and you can see the frost, the white material all around the pot light, and you can also see that the insulation has somewhat collapsed around the pot light. So these pot lights are supposedly self-sealing. Of course, that's not really true. The insulation is crusty on top because it's frozen, and right here, there you can see the top of the pot light. So the insulation, you can see it's all cavitated in here, collapsed, because as it gets wet, the cellufiber loses its structure, and this is the frozen crust layer of frost on top here. There's other examples up here as well, although you have to bear with me. Moving around is not easy. I've got another vapor leak here. I don't know if you can see that big divot or hole in the insulation level, and it looks like there's frost and water material at the base. And again over here I've got another pot light. On this one you can see the top of the pot light. Again, there's a big divot or hole in the insulation around it because the moisture has caused the insulation to collapse. Cellufiber is ground newspaper, so once it gets wet it basically goes to paper mache, which is much denser, and it loses its insulation qualities. So pot lights are, unless properly sealed, can be a real source of heat and vapor loss into the attic space of your home. Back here, using the thermal camera, I identified another cold spot from the inside, and again we can see this is a fan vent coming up through the attic and into the roof, and around it at the base as well we've got cavitation of the insulation and frost accumulations. I've identified a few spots towards the front of the house as well that show similar deterioration. And this type of damage wouldn't occur if more care was taken to sealing the vapor barrier, especially around any perforations. I've got another spot here, I don't know what this is, probably a ceiling light also leaking. You can see the discoloration in the insulation. It hasn't cavitated as badly, but it's full of moisture and it's probably frozen and crusty on top. One of the bigger areas that shows some frost accumulations is this ensuite bathroom fan area. You can see in here the frost and snow accumulations are a lot more extensive, right up onto the roof here. So you can see as it's turning into a warmer day now, we're starting to get some melting on the roof, and this water will be dripping down into the insulation and causing further deterioration and cavitation as it turns the insulation into mush. And looking in behind the vent here, you can see fairly extensive cavitation of the insulation, and of course lots of frost and what looks like snow, but I think it's all frost. Towards the front of the house I also identified another cold spot, and if we go over here, this was quite obvious on the thermal camera. There's no insulation almost at all left, and the source of the leakage here, I don't know. It's probably a joint in the vapor barrier, but you can see that there's been a tremendous collapse of the insulation all around this area here. Just to give you an idea how little is left here, let's just take a measurement here. So we're down to 2 inches of insulation. You should have probably closer to 11. If I pull back the insulation, there's the vapor barrier, not very far under the surface. And of course this showed up as a cold spot. from the inside with the thermal camera. So the insulation should probably be up about here. And it's not, and of course we do have a light here, I can tell for sure, because this is a tether cord for probably a fairly heavy light fixture. And here's the bolt that's holding the light fixture. So that light is a source of heat and vapor loss, and it's damaged the insulation because it wasn't properly sealed at the ceiling interface. So there you go, there's a few interesting things that can happen. Brand new house, no one's ever lived in it, and the insulation is already shot in a number of spots, and it'll only get worse over time.